Okay, so before I start the notes today, I want to go over these problems. And so if the function y equals the square root of 4x plus 1 is horizontally stretched by a factor of 2. So it's horizontally stretched by a factor of 2. So horizontally stretched, is that A or B? So what does my B equal? 1/2. It's reflected across the x-axis, and it's translated up 3 units. So first of all, I need to do all of these to this equation. So horizontally stretched by a factor of 2. What happens to that? It goes inside. So it's times, this is times 1/2, correct? So 4 times 1/2 leaves me 2. And then I'm reflected across the x-axis. So where does the negative go? Outside. So there's a negative out there, and it's translated 3 units up. So if it starts at 1 and it goes up 3, it's plus 4. Okay, Cyan, do you need to move up here? Or what? Okay, let's get the water cap and let's move on. Okay, so I keep going over these because you're going to see these on your tests. I got 100 on it. I took the tests. Thank you. I was pretty proud of myself. I had to focus on some problems, but I did it. So what about this one? Because a bunch of you just left this blank on the homework. Cap the water bottle. Is it capped? Put it away from you. So this function is where I end. This is where I end. It wants to know, where did you start? Where did you start? So a function was vertically stretched by a factor of 3. So what did I do if I vertically stretched by a factor of 3? Outside times what? It's about times 3. That's exactly right. So if I end up at negative 3/2, what did I multiply by 3 to end up at negative 3/2? The negative 1/2, right? So that's where I started. So I have a negative 1/2. It says I translated 5 down. So if I ended at negative 2, where did I start? So look, I ended at negative 2. I moved down 5. So where did I start? This is 0, 1, 2, 3. That's 5. So I started at 3. And inside now, translated 5 units down, and 7 units left. I went 7 units left. And when I went 7 units left, I ended at plus 4. What is it? Negative 3, right? Why negative 3? Does everybody see this? You're going to have to do this again. That's why it keeps coming back. It's not going away. So like if you're thinking, oh gosh, that's too hard, you're going to have to do this. We are doing piecewise functions today. Okay. What? All right, so on your notes. Reuben, write. Well, find something else to write with. I don't know, honey. So, what this says is there's several functions here. They're all defined by the domain. It's defined by the domain. So, I have an absolute value, a quadratic, and a square root. I use the absolute value if it's less than 3. If it's between 3 and 7, I use the quadratic. And if it's greater than 7, I use the square root. So, f of negative 5, which one does that fall in? First, second, or third? First. So I get 2 times negative 5 minus 5. Minus 5 is negative 10. And what does the absolute value do to the negative 10? Makes it positive, so this ends up as 20. So f of 2, that falls in the second one. So 2 squared is 4. I keep the negative, so I get negative 4 plus 8. That makes f of 2 equal to 4. So for the third one, f of 7, which one do I use? The second or the third? Why the third? That third is correct. Because it's equal to, so I have to pick the third. So I get 14 plus 6, which is 20. So 20 is 4 times 5. What is the square root of 4? 2 square roots of 5. Okay, you all try number 2. Stay awake. I know. Is Jennifer here? No? Make this the absolute value. So which one did we choose for the negative 3? The first one. So who chose the first one? Oh, this one. So what does this equal? 8. So which one do you choose for the second? The first? So negative 8 cubed is 512. Negative 512 divided by 2, and then plus 7 gives you negative 249. What's negative 3? What does it equal? Negative 3 falls right here between negative 4 and negative 2. So this one is the one you choose. So for the last one, G of 3.1, which one do you choose? The last one. So that gives you 3.1 minus 4. Negative point what? 9, that's correct. So if it's negative 0.9, what does the absolute value do? Makes it positive. So you get 0.9. So now what we're going to do is we're going to graph the piecewise functions. So first of all, if it's less than 0, we're going to choose this absolute value. If it's greater than or equal to 0, we're going to choose 2x minus 5. And what does 2x minus 5 graph? A line, right? So here's the thing. If it's less than 0, so on this side, I'm going to have this absolute value. If it's greater than or equal to 0, on this side, we're going to have a line. So I'm going to start with the absolute value. And what does the absolute value look like? It's a V. Are there any stretches or compressions? No. So where's the vertex of this? 0, 0. So I'm going to shift -3 and then -1. So how do I get my next points now? Magic, I just make them up. So I go up 1 and over 1. And then again. And I go until I hit the 0, because we only go to 0, right? And so at the 0, is it an open or a closed circle? Open, because there's no line under here. So here at the 0, I'm getting an open circle. Use your handy dandy ID. That's what it's very good for this. So you can make your lines. So did everybody get this so far? We've got the absolute value, right? So now is the easy one. We're going to graph the line. So starting at 0, and this one gets a closed circle because it has a line under it. So I start here at -5. So I'm going to count down to -5. And how do I get my next point? Very good. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. And that makes a straight line. And again, your ID will make that for you. So, what's the domain here? It's going to be all of them, right? Negative infinity to infinity. But what's the range? What's the bottom? -5 to infinity, and the -5 gets a bracket. Is there a jump? Where? Bless you. Look how smart you've gotten. Look at this. Look how smart you are. I'm so proud of all of you. Okay, so I'm just going to do number 4 and then we'll be done. So the top one on number 4, what is that graph? A line. And what is the second one graph? A parabola. So the next thing that I ask myself is I'm going to look at the domain. Where's my breaking point? Where am I going to stop? Okay, so I'm going to make like a little mark. 1, 2. Right here is -3. So if I start with the line right here, so I start at -4. But where does the line have to be? Do I want it on this side or on this side? I want it on this side, right? So is that point going to get included? No. It's not. It's where I'm going to start, but I'm going to start drawing my line when I hit this little mark on my graph. Okay? So how do I find the next point from negative 4? Okay, so the negative would be down 1 and this way. And we don't want to go this way, do we? I want to go the other way. So up, back, that's at negative 1. X is negative 1. I don't want that yet. Up, back, I'm at negative 2. I still don't want that. So up and back, I do want this point. It has a line under it, so this point is closed. It's going to get included. And so use your ID, and there's that line. Okay, so where did the vertex go? The vertex is at 0, 0. Did I shift it left or right? No. So what does the negative do? So it goes upside down, right? But what does the 1/2 do? Vertical or horizontal? Vertical. So I multiply which one by 1/2? Y. So here are my points. Joseph, if I'm multiplying by 1/2, which points are you going to choose here? Okay, so if I do negative 2 and 4, so first of all I have to reflect it over the x-axis, so that comes down here. And then I multiply the 4 times 1/2, which takes it back to 2. So the same thing on the other side. Because I did it with 2, 4 on the other side. So when I draw the parabola, where do I have to stop with the parabola? Right here. And do I get an open or closed circle with the parabola? Open. So when I draw this, I'm getting an open circle here. And this goes this way. So the domain is negative infinity to infinity. The range, bottom to top, is negative infinity to infinity. And do I have a discontinuity? Where? Negative 3.